So tonight's title is You Won't Get Anywhere Behaving Like That. You won't get anywhere behaving like that. Boy, what do you think of that title? What do you think of that title? You won't get anywhere behaving like that. Mhm. What do you think of that title? It's very, very interesting, right? I wanted to, this title is a spinoff to last week's conversation about staying in the fifth dimension. Um, so tonight we're talking about the things that prevent us from staying in that frequency of love. And gonna do some quick bullet points on what got four things tonight. Four things that hinder us from staying in the frequency of love. And we just gonna dive in. So my boy, it's just me and you tonight. Give me a ready in this chat if you're ready for the fifth dimension. We're still talking about how to stay in that fifth dimension frequency. But give me a ready. She is ready. Let's go. All right. So when we were talking about fifth dimension, we were talking about things that represent love, right? Kindness, giving, having an overall positive outlook and perspective on life. These are the things that keep us in the fifth dimension. And tonight, I wanted to give you some tough love and say that you're not in the fifth dimension if you're behaving certain ways. So, and here's the reality. The fifth dimension is directly connected to the things that we want to manifest in our life. So if you want to manifest certain things, you won't be able to manifest it if you are a nasty person, if you're unkind to people, if you are disrespectful, if you are super judgmental of other people, if you claim you're the victim all the time. These are some things I'm going to be diving into because we have to hold a mirror up to ourselves and understand that you can't get anywhere treating yourself any old kind of way and treating other people any old kind of way. Hey, Kim. Welcome, love. So tonight we're talking about how to stay in the fifth dimension and some things that are holding us back. So the title is You Won't Get Anywhere Behaving Like That. You won't get anywhere behaving like that. Okay, so four ways or four things that hinder us from being in the fourth dimension. Give me in this already in this chat if you're ready for number one. If you're ready for number one. The number one thing that hinders us from staying in the fifth dimension. Number one thing. Give me some readies in this chat. Kim is ready. Come on, boy. Give me a ready in this chat. All right, my boy is ready. So number one, excuses. Constantly making excuses for your behavior will not allow you to stay in the fifth dimension. Excuses keep you stagnant. Excuses allow you to continue to procrastinate. Excuses is a way for you to justify your actions. So when you are constantly making excuses, you are constantly keeping yourself in the third dimension because your dreams won't manifest if you keep making an excuse as to why they won't. Stop making excuses and continue to operate on the frequency where manifestations happen. They do not happen where you continuously make an excuse for your inability to show up for yourself. That's an excuse. We name multiple reasons why we can't, and then wonder why we can't manifest. It's because you keep making excuses. You keep procrastinating. You keep allowing your excuses to keep you from your manifestations. So that is main reason number one why you can't stay in the fifth dimension, because you keep making an excuse as to why you can't be there, when it's all a figment of your imagination, and we all have the ability to create our own realities. So stop making excuses and show up for yourself. Tough love tonight. Ready for number two? Give me a ready in this chat. Give me a ready in this chat. The reason number two you are not staying in the fifth dimension is because of your own energy. Your own energy. Some of you, and these are for people who are going to watch this recording, so I'm not talking to you per se that are here. Some of you continuously bring forth negative energy. Meaning, if somebody's really optimistic about something that they want to accomplish or achieve, your first thought is, or your first attitude towards them is, you can't do that. Who told you that I can't? Or you say that to yourself. How many times you're telling yourself something that you can't do? And I'm going to quote my famous love story, Love and Basketball. Can't should never be in, he says, a man's vocabulary. But I'm going to stretch it further. Can't should never be in anybody's vocabulary. My boy, thank you for your vulnerability tonight. She's guilty of negative self-talk. I have been guilty of negative self-talk as well. But I'm setting an intention to shift my energy around how I perceive how the world is responding to me, how I perceive what's happening around me. If I change it, you have to change the narrative, point blank, period. Change the narrative and shift your energy towards the things that you desire. If you keep shifting your energy to the negative outcome, then you are going to receive the negative outcome, which lends to point number three. The next point is, when you realize it's your own excuses you keep making and your own energy that's hindering you, then the third thing you really have to do is have a radical, when I say radical, I mean you have to really fight to overcome your own shortcomings. You have to fight for it. You have to take radical responsibility for your own self. You really do. You have to point out the areas that you know are holding you back, and you have to tackle them literally, intentionally, every single day. And I'm going to use myself as an example. So, you ladies have joined me for the 7 days of authenticity, and you remember me writing down like 11 to 12 things that I saw in myself that I no longer want to participate in, right? One of them being perfection, two of them, perfectionism and procrastination, right? So since I've identified that those are the two things that I want to get rid of, one thing I had to do was, one, stop making excuses, right? Second thing was I stopped putting my energy towards those two character traits. And what I did thirdly was take radical responsibility for myself in showing up for myself when it comes to procrastination and perfectionism. So now I took radical responsibility by doing what? 2 words. Show up. That's what I did. I started to show up. Show up for myself every single day. And now I hold myself even more accountable because I now have, on a whim, started this podcast every Tuesday. And I'm like, whoa, that's some lack of procrastination for you. Man, I have to show up because I got y'all relying on me now. Y'all are my accountability partners. So I show up. That helps me eliminate procrastination. And it helps me eliminate perfectionism. Why? Because I'm still doing it from my dining room table with no fancy setup. The setup is coming. I know all of that stuff is coming, but right now, this is what it is. And I'm not trying to be perfect at it. I don't care what people think. I just know I have a word to speak. And from what I see so far, you guys are I'm feeding you, and you're eating gracefully from the messages that I have to share. So I'm radically responsible for myself, and that has allowed me to show up. So in my radical responsibility, I understand that no one, not even y'all on this call, no one is coming to save me. That's a radical approach. Karima, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to set you up on this podcast and teach you all of that information. No. Take responsibility for yourself. Okay, how you do that? Oh, let me go watch some videos on how to run a podcast. Let me go watch some YouTube videos on how to set up my podcast. Nobody's coming to save me. Nobody. And I need you to understand that nobody's coming to save you either. So whatever it is that you want to do, you got to go after it. You have to show up. Think of the thing that is holding you back from the fifth dimension. Think of those things, that negative self-talk, boy, that you spoke of. What are some things you could do to take radical responsibility and combat that negative self-talk? What is something that you could do radically? I'm saying radical, like, listen, this can't be anymore. That's what I had to do. No one's coming to save me. No one is coming to stop you from the negative self-talk. So what are you going to do to grab it by the hand and say, no more? Powerful words. And the more and more that I have taken this approach of radical responsibility, the floodgates in my manifestations have opened. Like, there's so much that is happening behind the scenes right now, just from me not settling for the old version of myself. I'm stepping into newness. I'm stepping into fifth dimension. I'm stepping into love. That means anything that's not vibrating on the direction I'm headed, it can't come with me. And I'm okay with that. I'm so okay with that. You know, at the end of the day, I have a good heart. I have good intentions. And my intentions with every single thing that I do is to advance the collective, is to spread love, is to be a vessel of love. So those are the three. I got my last point. Okay, my last point. So we talked about no more excuses. We talked about maintaining a positive energy, you know? And with that, we have to be intentional about guarding our energy, because if we don't, we attract the very things that we put out. So you get what you put out, period. You know, what you reap what you sow. I mean, that's black and white at this point. You get what you put out. So once I understood that, I'm just constantly putting out love. I'm constantly putting out good energy, man. Like good energy is everything. And so on to my final point. The third, be radically responsible. And then the fourth, give me some readies in this chat because we're closing out really, really soon. Give me a ready in this chat if you're ready for the final way to stay in the fifth dimension. My boy is ready. Come on, Kim. Kim is ready. Y'all are so attentive. I love it. Final ready. Oh, my mom is here. She came a little late. She must be watching from another platform. Hey, mama. Final point. How to stay in the fifth dimension. And this is probably the one that, I'm not going to lie, this is probably the one that holds you back the most. This is the one that holds us back the most, even me. Number 4, the things that keep you from the fifth dimension is, drum roll, judgment of others and blaming others. You gotta stop blaming other people for your shortcomings, for your faults, for your mistakes. And you gotta stop judging other people for their shortcomings, their faults, and their mistakes, man. Like, judgment is the biggest thing that keeps us from the fifth dimension. When I tell you, we are all equal, all having the same experience, all learning and growing. Some people are learning at different rates and speeds than we are. Some people choose ignorance, yes. Some people care less about positive energy or being positive, yes. But what I've learned, I've been tested so much past year, I would say. And I learned to leave people where they are. You can't pull everybody along with you. And you can't judge them for where they are either. Just accept people for who they are and give grace and compassion to others and yourself. It's through grace that you're able to stay in the fifth dimension. It's through grace that you're able to continuously practice love because you see people as, you see oneness. You see oneness in people. You see the very thing that you despise in them, there's a fragment of that that exists inside of you. So you don't judge them for it. Some people you love from a distance, right? Especially if they are harmful to your mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. But then there's some people that you can coach them up. You can work with them. You can have compassion for them, and you can teach them if they have a receptive and receiving heart and spirit. So that's my word tonight, y'all. I told y'all I wasn't gonna, man. I told y'all I wasn't gonna keep y'all long because, again, short, sweet, and to the point. But I can tell you in these 20 minutes that we've been on, it's powerful stuff we're talking about. Really, really powerful stuff. And if you can just like soak it in and begin to integrate it into your life, man, I promise you, everything that you desire is like on the other side of it. You can lead them to the other side of it. Mama, thank you. Great info to make you think. Kim, that's right. You can lead them to the water, but you can't make them drink it. You cannot. You certainly cannot make them drink it. Yeah. So those are my four key points. Quick recap. 1, no more excuses. Take take full responsibility for yourself. Okay? Shift your energy. You are what you attract. Continue to put out positive energy and positive love and stay on a frequency of love, and that stuff's gonna come right back to you. Okay? Radical, radical, radical responsibility for you. You got to take radical responsibility for yourself because no one is coming to save you. And the final point is stop judging people, stop judging yourself, give yourself and others compassion and grace to navigate this human experience, man. It is not the easiest thing to do in life. So we might as well hold hands through the process and nurture each other during the process and like teach each other, you know, teach each other. Does anybody have any comments, questions before we head out? Any comments or questions before we head out? I realize so with the podcast, I think I'm setting it up in a way that each week is just going to be a building conversation on top of the other. I like the way it's going so far, and I love your feedback in the chat. If you've joined me for these 4 episodes, tell me. I like some positive or constructive criticism. Give me some thoughts in the chat. How are you liking how we're flowing in my Sacred and Unfiltered podcast? Yeah, give me some feedback. I appreciate that at this time because this is the way where I'm headed is continuously building each episode on top of the other. Yes. Yes, boy, you got to stop being so hard on yourself. Yes, grace, compassion. We are these imperfect beings, and even in our imperfection, we're still so perfect. We're still so amazing. We're still so chosen. We're all the things, and that's what's beautiful. Mama, I love to hear that. Each week, it gives me more to examine myself. I love that. I love that. That's the point, is to help you. Like, my job is only just to hold the mirror up, right? As I hold the mirror to myself, I'm reflecting it back at you. And I'm hoping that, through my growth and my experiences, it's going to help you. That's what this podcast is for. I love to hear from Angie and Kim. Tell me so far your thoughts on the podcast and the direction that I'm heading, each week building on top of the last or previous week. I love that for you, Mom. And I love that you are supporting me week in and week out. I appreciate that so much. It's a continuous growing, even at my age. Yes, absolutely. Yes, it is. Hey, Mom, would you be open to joining me on my podcast live? I was thinking of one of my topics being about the old generation versus the new generation. Like, millennial versus baby boomer. Kim, it definitely helps me rethink some of the things I'm experiencing in my life. Awesome. I love that, Kim. I love that, Kim. And at any moment, right, if there is a topic, yeah, you like that, Mom? Tell me what you think. I was thinking that you need the live people there with you. Yeah, that's the next phase. So my goal is to get, I'm going to be setting up a studio in my house. And, I'm going to have some nice cozy couches, and the whole setup is coming, y'all. I just needed to not rely on perfectionism and get it started. Point is to get it started, but I'm definitely bringing live guests from all different capacities and spaces. This is gonna, it's just gonna continuously growing. Yeah. My boy Ange, what you got for me in terms of the way that this podcast is going and how it's flowing for you? I love some feedback on that. Well, yeah, Mom, I'm gonna have y'all on my podcast. You Any of the aunties? What's your favorite quotes, Kim? Keep going. Yes, yes, yes. I definitely will keep going. 1000%. Definitely will keep going. Yes. Naima, I enjoy your podcast and learning new things, how to better myself. I was a little quiet today, but I'm listening. I love you so much for that. My boy Angie, I love it and look forward to it each week. I love you, and there's nothing you could do about it. Oh, Ashe, Ashe. Well, Lynn, that sets the tone to close out this beautiful evening. Nas, I'm sending you so much love. I'm so glad that this podcast is helping you, even though you're quiet, right? It's okay. No judgment. If being quiet is okay, that's okay. I'm okay with that. But as long as this is feeding you, here's what I need. This is the last thing. I need you all, once we hang up this call, I need you to like it. One thing with I have a playlist of all the different podcasts. I need you to go and like it or put a comment on it, because when you like it and put a comment on it, it just drives more attraction to the video. So and you can share it with people if they miss it. If you know that this message will benefit somebody, please like, comment, and share. Please like, comment, and share. That's really what I need after this call, is for you to go to the YouTube channel, like all of them, put one simple comment on all of them, and then share it out to people that you know this will benefit to hear, for them to hear. So, family, I love you. I thank you for your time tonight. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to be building on this topic. I'm going to be building out in different ways. And I can tell you truthfully, transparently, I never know what the divine wants me to speak on until like the day of. Like, I just sit with it for a full week. Like, soon as this podcast is over, my mind starts churning about, okay, where do I go next? You know, so this is truly authentic. It's truly divine. And I'm just praying that it reaches the ears that it needs to. So, love you, family. This is your girl, Karima, on a Sacred and Unfiltered podcast, here to remind you that you are the temple. Have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you next week, 7:00 sharp. Thank you for your time. I love you, family. Peace and love.